Cinema Smack contains spoilers of the spoiling type. If you don't want your spoilers spoiled, please turn back now. Otherwise, enjoy the show!
Hello, Cinesmacketeers, and welcome back to Cinesmack, the podcast about films by filmmakers. I am your host, Mike Keeler. Joining me, as per usual, owner of Cheshire Moon Films, Mr. Tom Haggis.
Hi, everybody. I have nothing funny to say.
Also joining us tonight is owner of One Genome Short Productions, Mr. Gabriel Rowald.
We could not talk or talk forever and still find things to not talk about.
Also on the panel tonight is owner of Outpost 515 Productions and the producer of the Des Moines 48-Hour Film Project, Mr. Samuel Pace Twomey.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
And our special guest tonight, writer, director, producer, actress, and my lovely wife, Miss Amanda Keeler.
Bonjour.
Well, guys.
What? I didn't. Was she talking about me? What'd
That
you
was
say?
for Mike.
Yeah, thanks.
I know he loves everything French.
Well, I've been telling you sons of bitches, we got to get the goddamn podcast going. I have to tell you every month, you sons of bitches. Sorry. Let me poke the monkey. We'll find out what we're talking about here.
Ladies and gentlemen, dog owners and beauty queens, welcome to the main event! Tonight, we have a riot on the runway as pooch wranglers tussle for the tiara with pageant participants. In the first quarter from 1999, directed by Michael Patrick Jan, starring Kirsten Dunst, Allison Janney, and Kirstie Alley, Drop Dead Gorgeous. In the second quarter from 2000, directed by Christopher Guest, starring Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, and Fred Willard. Best in show! Who will be crowned and who will just get their leg hopped?
Let's move on to our first round, which is writing.
This show's going to be weird for me because I was actually pretty new to Drop Dead Gorgeous. I had never watched it all the way through. Didn't really know much about it other than the few stills I had seen before about it. And I've always been drawn by Best in Show. And I know it's improv, so it's hard to say exactly where the original writing goes. And I think the writers who are credited are Christopher Guest and Eugene Levy, both awesome improvisers in their own way. But regardless who gets credit for the writing, even if it is improv, it's very clever, and I don't know, it's warm. It's a lot more opening to me than the snark of Drop Dead Gorgeous, which for the sensitive viewer is not as approachable, I think, as Best in Show may be.
Yeah, I think the improv in Best in Show seems it seems like Drop Dead Gorgeous stuck more to the script. For the most part, line by line and word by word. Whereas in Best in Show, it really seemed like they would just set up a scene, let them know the direction, and then let these really great actors run with it. And I know Christopher Guest and Eugene Levy got the writing credit, but I feel like a lot of the actual dialogue what came up with from the actors. And I'm not sure which way is the better way to do it, but it certainly paid off for Best in Show.
Yeah, definitely. I think, it is hard to say, what is it, the writing or the acting, but Best in Show is clearly, in my opinion, more intelligent and more nuanced, especially when it comes to the character development. I found myself chuckling more during Best in Show than I did Drop Dead Gorgeous. I didn't dislike Drop Dead Gorgeous, but I just didn't find it as engaging as often, and I didn't feel like the character development was really there. They were very shallow characters, figuratively speaking, and that they were intended to be shallow. But yeah, I just found Best in Show just really delightful from a writing standpoint.
I'm going against everybody else because I like Drop Dead Gorgeous better. Because to you guys' point that there's a fine line between where the writing was and where the actor took over, I'm going to give the Best in Show credit to those lines, to those actors more than the writers. So I vote Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Sure, but I think in some ways, even though they're uncredited, all of us will acknowledge that the writers are the improvers, and that's why it's strong in some ways. So it is a lot different than matching it up against Drop Dead Gorgeous, who is one writer, which is surprising.
Yeah, Lona Williams.
Who played the writer for Drop Dead Gorgeous? Is that who you were talking about, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, who was the third judge. She was the female judge that never talked, that never said anything.
Yeah, and that was
the writer.
the character that confused me the most. In that nothing ever really happened with that character. You're expecting that this character has some sort of secret or something that they're hiding, or that they're gonna maybe turn out to actually be the killer. You're going to suspect all these other people, but she's actually going to be it. But nothing ever really happened with her. She was just kind of there. Oh, and I felt like that it was kind of undeveloped as a character. And then I also felt like, in Drop Dead Gorgeous, not enough. There weren't enough of the other contestants dropping off, getting killed. And that kind of thing. I wanted it to be kind of like where, everybody's really in fear of their lives, and the police aren't going to do anything about it because they're bumbling. Well, and then I thought the twist at the end was a little bit unsatisfying. Because, like the killer was kind of who we thought it was going to be, and then the real twist was that this thing got closed down. So I was a little disappointed with some of those plot points personally, but
okay,
I guess that's just me.
I totally interpreted a lot of that differently because I thought that the point with the judges was that they were all completely unqualified to be judging any sort of a beauty pageant. So that the writer girl, she worked for the one girl's dad. So, of course, he's going to hire... So, to me, you didn't need to develop her beyond that because you knew who she was supposed to be voting for. And I didn't read anything into the killer part of it because they were killing off... Oh, sorry. Sorry, just hit my mic. They were killing...
Spouse abuse.
They were.
Oh, not that mic. Okay.
They were killing. They were killing off the ones that were a threat. The other girls weren't
threats at all.
Well, they knew they weren't the competition.
Right.
And how many other contestants actually died? Only one died, right? And then the other one got hit on the head and went deaf. She didn't actually die, right?
Well, no,
so
yeah,
the
one died, and then they tried killing.
Well, and the daughter died. It was kind of funny that she burned up on that float.
Died in the belly of a swan.
Yeah, then the daughter died at the end,
yeah.
And that was a little weird too because I thought that's where the twist was going to come, in that she's like, it smells like gasoline. I mean, and that totally gave it away. Of course, the float is going to burn, but then we were, my thought was, well, who doused it with gasoline? And then it was just kind of a comment on
Mexican
workers
Yeah.
or something. It wasn't
like
actually it wasn't actually somebody who sabotaged it. It was just poorly made in Mexico.
I think I was gonna say I think the writing on Best of Show is like it's a wonderful soup because you've got all of these actor performers in with a director that's excels in working in this type of a medium. So in a way, it's like he gives them the base and they add all this crazy stuff. And I'm sure there's tons of stuff that you don't see that doesn't make it into the film. But in some ways, I think that to me adds the best writing. Not necessarily just sit down and writing it by yourself all the way through, but kind of using it as a patchwork together. If we were to award that, I'm going to have to go with Best in Show. I can't. I mean, I think that's the way it is.
Well, I mean, you're looking at it. Your two writers for Best in Show are Christopher Guest and Eugene Levy, and I would love to see the script and just see if they just have bullet points like marks that the actors have to hit. Where
I imagine there are certain things that there are certain elements that have to be in there, so they have to say or do certain things,
right?
But not strictly by the script.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, okay, well, yeah, we definitely have to hit these things. But.
Now, see, I wonder if someone that had never watched or really knew who Christopher Guest was, since we know that and we know how the writing works with him and how the actors work.
And that group of actors.
Right. I wonder if it would come off the same way for someone who wouldn't know that thought the entire thing was scripted.
It does not, just for the record, because until you guys all started talking while we were recording, no idea.
Okay. All right.
I think Drop Dead Gorgeous gets some extra bonus points because I think that movie had a better sense of irony, which, late 90s was really something kind of perpetrated, TV and film and music. And
we can thank Alanis Morissette for that.
Well, she doesn't know what irony is.
It should have been Coincidence. The name of that song should have been Coincidence.
But just the idea that Kirsten Dunst won became the local beauty pageant because of Kirstie Alley and her husband's, cheapness, and she wound up becoming, the next Diane Sawyer because Kirstie Alley, accidentally knocked off that anchor and she stepped in during the epilogue. And I think that the irony that it really seemed like they had an ending and then they kind of worked backwards from that. But that being said, I mean, the Best in Show, if you're talking about just simply dialogue, I mean, Best in Show is a treasure trove of great one-liners and, the only one I can think of is the guy in the studio booth saying, "I'm growing now, baby." But there's lots of other more appropriate ones. Yeah, Bulge. Yeah.
Well, but see, my whole thing is, where does the writing stop with a Christopher Guest film?
You don't know.
I mean, yeah, exactly. You don't know,
I think
he has
for the
great
purposes of our
performers.
discussion on this podcast, though, you don't have to go by who is the credited writers, just what your opinion of the best writing in general for that film is.
Right, and all in all, the actors in Best in Show did some writing themselves, I imagine, for their characters, and they can be credited with that as well. But all right, should we go ahead and vote? I know how this is going. Sam.
Yep.
I'm gonna vote for RoboCop.
RoboCop. That's not an option.
Yeah.
RoboCop 3 is an option. Would you like to choose that one?
No, it's too late.
All right.
Too late. Let's go Best in Show.
All right. Tom.
I thought Drop Dead Gorgeous had a better overall story, but I think Best in Show delivered the best lines. So I'm going to give it to Best in Show.
Okie dokie. Gabe?
Yeah, Best in Show for me.
All right. And
DDG
Amanda?
for me.
All right. DDG. Gotcha. All right.
Double DG.
Double DG.
BS.
Drop.
Hey, we each
Oh, no,
get a vote.
I was saying,
okay?
I was voting. Best in Show.
In Drop Dead Gorgeous, the town of Mount Rose is fictional and is an anagram of Rosemount, where screenwriter Lona Williams graduated from high school. However, all the other Minnesota cities mentioned in the film, such as Burnsville, Forest Lake, and Pine City, are real cities in the Minneapolis-St. Paul metropolitan area. And yeah, Tom.
I hate second guessing our choices after the fact, but I feel like if we had done Waiting for Guffman in terms of the take on small town, I think
might have fit a little better.
Might have fit a little better. I mean, Best in Show is Christopher Guest's best film, I think, but that crossed my mind, and I just wanted to interrupt your trivia.
Oh, okay. Well,
And you said town. You said town, and that was my trigger word.
Let's see here. I was just there, and then I had to do something. Okay, Fred Willard was specifically instructed by Christopher Guest to not do any research on dogs. Jim Piddock, am I saying that right? On the other hand, had to do a lot of dog research so that his character would appear knowledgeable. As a result, Guest says, some viewers are surprised to learn Piddock is not a real dog show judge. So, Tom, can I ask you, how much do you think I could bench press?
I don't know.
550. I could deadlift 1,000 back in the day, but now I could probably not even make it up and down that. Sorry. Those are some of my favorite lines. Anyway, let's move on to acting.
Yeah, acting. Well, see, these two categories obviously overlap because we talked about them kind of in an overlapping fashion. And the interesting thing about both of these movies is they really have strong ensemble casts. Both movies have great actors in them. And I was really surprised to see how many well-known actors were in Drop Dead Gorgeous. And I don't know, maybe you guys know, for how many of those actresses was this kind of like an early film for them? Where it seemed like they were all pretty young, and this may have been an early work for them.
I know this was Amy Adams, like her big debut film.
Yeah, that was her first one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and she looked particularly young in that, actually.
Especially in her
She was
thong.
fucking horrible. She was fucking horrible. And
but
Brittany
I thought
Murphy was just bad as like, girl, you're gonna die, and she did. And
No, she didn't.
Who would you say?
Brittany Murphy.
Oh.
And
Well, in real life.
I thought they did a pretty decent job, all of them doing the kind of Minnesotan accent though. They kept it up convincingly throughout, and I was waiting for one of the actors or actresses to not be able to do it, and they all seemed to do it fairly well, in my opinion. So I was pretty impressed with that. But the ensemble for Best in Show, you really can't go wrong with. They're all so good. Every one of them is just excellent. And for all kinds of different reasons. The Parker Posey and her husband, man, they just made me tense. And I'm like, oh God, I hate
Find
these
the bumblebee.
people. But that's such great acting because that's what I'm supposed to feel about them, And you can't go wrong with Eugene Levy and Fred Willard, and you just can't go wrong. And what's her name? Played Eugene Levy's wife. What's the actress's name?
O'Hara.
Catherine
yeah.
O'Hara.
Yeah, she was
awesome.
awesome. I thought it was hilarious after she hurt herself when she fell down and she's
her
trying to
walking.
walk. And she does this totally ridiculous walk. I was like, oh, it's way over the top, but it's hilarious. I don't know. I just thought the acting in Best in Show was just superb.
Well, the one actor that really carried both performances a performance in both movies was Will Sasso.
Oh yeah.
That's funny that he was in both.
Well,
He
that's
plays-
kind of the crossover actor.
Well, and he plays my favorite part in Drop Dead Gorgeous. He plays Hank.
Thanks, awesome.
and when I am trying to carry groceries in and I don't have a hand or something's falling or something's slipping, I immediately start yelling, "Help, Hank! Help, Hank!" And Mike knows every time what that means.
It's kind of funny.
I thought, as much as I love the entire cast of Best in Show, I thought my favorite team was Ellen Barkin and Allison Janney in Drop Dead Gorgeous. I completely forgot how hilarious the two of them are together. And I always underestimate Ellen Barkin. Every time I watch her, she's just an absolute scream. And this was such a weird role for her.
Yeah. The whole thing where she had the can melted.
Can't stuck her hand. And,
She ruined a whole pair of Lee press-ons.
and Allison Janney
You're right.
is...
Allison Janney's amazing.
God, she's so great in this. And
She's fantastic.
she might be my favorite. It'd be a toss-up. If I had to pick one favorite between these two movies, it would either be her or John Michael Higgins, because he is absolutely hilarious in everything he does too. So, yeah, that's right.
Well, I thought Allison Janney was good, but there were some of the other girls that I didn't really necessarily like as much. I love seeing Kirstie Alley. Sam McMurray was kind of fun. Alan Barkin was good. Again, love Allison Janney. Denise Richards, never been a fan of hers at all, really. But then you go to Best in Show, and I love all of those performers. It's really fun to watch them work, and it's hard for me. While there's some definitely good stuff on Drop Dead Gorgeous, to me, the level of the performance, even though we don't necessarily find out more about the characters, I feel that you have a better remembrance of the characters than you kind of do in Drop Dead Gorgeous.
I grew up loving Drop Dead Gorgeous. Like, I watched that a lot, like probably more than I should admit in a public forum. But I was really, really impressed with Best of Show, and I actually said that if there were more commentators like Eugene Levy, I might actually watch
Fred Willard.
Yeah. I might actually watch dog shows.
He was great.
Oh my gosh!
And supposedly that was based on a real person.
Oh, way to steal my thunder!
Well, you can flesh that trivia out later.
Damn it! That was a juicy piece of trivia.
It was.
No, you can flesh it out.
I'm done. You can finish the show yourself, Gabe. No. I just want to say that I love, like I said earlier, I loved Hank, and I loved Henry. I love those two. But one other guy that just does a great job, and I'm trying to find his name, Matt Malloy, who plays John Doe, the one with the camera in for accidents.
He is great. That was all three of those guys were in my notes, and how much I enjoyed them.
Let's bring out the young girls.
Like, imagine if they were in Best of Show as well. It's like those guys, each of their parts, especially the guy that kept talking about the girls and he was smoking all the time, and he was John Doe. I was like, oh, that character is just cracks me up just without him even saying anything.
And I love the fact that they got Adam West in it. I thought that was great. But
that was a fun cameo.
Yeah, that was a great cameo. But I have to say, Eugene Levy makes me laugh no matter what. Like, just watching his expressions, and then at the very end, after Bulge notices her in the sound studio, and he just hits his head against the microphone. That was great. And
I thought it was funny that Fred Willard mentioned, that handler looks familiar to me. When she was out there. I was like,
but Fred Willard by far stole that movie from me. I mean, I respect everyone's performances in both films, but Fred Willard just totally won the entire show
well,
for
me.
me.
We haven't even talked about Parker Posey yet, and that to me is one of my favorite parts of Best in Show. Like, I just love her performance and the way she wraps herself into that character. It's absolutely hilarious. Like, so many funny people on Best in Show.
I agree, but oh, sorry, go ahead, Sam.
You don't like Parker Posey? You don't like her character?
No, I mean, I like her acting, but there's always something that just bothers me about her, and I don't know what it is. I know it's not giant eyes like Susan Sarandon, but there's something that
I was actually going to say, like,
me.
the dead eyes. Like, it feels like she has, like... I loved her in this. Like, she was one of my favorite people, but, like, there's something about her eyes that always distracts me.
There's just something off, but I love her performance, and I like her performance in all the other films.
So it sounds like each of us could make a fantasy acting team by pulling people from both films and putting them into a new one.
And then you also had Bob Balaban from Seinfeld. It was fantastic.
Jennifer Coolidge and Jane Lynch.
Oh, yeah, let's not forget about them.
God. I mean, you got to see
Jane
that.
Lynch.
I mean, she's gone so far in the last 14 years, and she's made an entire career off this character for the most part.
Mm-hmm. That's true. It's very true.
Unbelievable. And I the other thing too is watching Drop Dead Gorgeous, and I started watching. I was like, oh, I forgot Kirstie Alley's in this. And by the end of the movie, I was like, she's actually pretty good. I mean, she really nails the evil helicopter mom thing pretty well. So,
and I think the Kirstie Alley character is part of why I love Drop Dead Gorgeous, because she reminds me so much of my crazy aunt, who's crazy in a good way and really fun. But
is she a listener?
No.
No.
Will she be hearing?
She might be now, because she's going to be like sort of famous. So,
sort of famous.
Because I mentioned her. nonchalantly.
I also want to point out, like, I had to do a double take rewatching it because I forgot Christopher Guest was playing Harlan Pepper, and I could have swore it was Mike Judge. Like, they looked very similar back then, like with the mustache and red. It just, to me, it just totally threw me for a loop, and I actually had to look it up because I had forgotten that he played Harlan Pepper. But once again, I really enjoyed his performance.
Was that the Weimaraner pet parent?
No,
No.
he
The
was
Bloodhound.
Bloodhound.
Bloodhound, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was interesting that Tom Lennon of The State was the narrator in Drop Dead Gorgeous. Like,
That's
I recognized his voice right away, and I was like, oh my god, this is so awesome.
so I hadn't watched that movie in a few years, and the first time he's talked, I had to rewind it, and then I just sat there and just listened to that, and I didn't realize that that was him in all those other times. I was so excited.
Amanda's a huge Tom Lennon.
I am huge.
Me too.
The
My
Stand is
husband
pretty
and I
awesome.
are too. It was like, oh yeah.
Huge.
And he fits so well. Like, he's great kind of non-obtrusive narrator that just enough to help set the scene. And to me, that was a fun little bit in there.
And all right, well, we could go on and on about each cast member, but let's go ahead and put it to a vote. Gabe.
Yeah, I got to say that Best in Show has just such a fantastic ensemble. I have to give it my vote.
All right, Amanda.
I'm going to say Best in Show as well. It just felt like everybody was on their A game at every moment in that project.
All right, Sam.
Best in Show!
And Tom.
Ellen Bark and Allison Janney get it for Drop Dead Gorgeous for me.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, as Amanda mentioned, this was Drop Dead Gorgeous was film debut of Amy Adams, and Melissa Joan Hart originally auditioned for the role of Amber Atkins. I can't do the Minnesota accent. Fred Willard shot his entire part in a day and a half. And this is another reason why I like Parker Posey. There's something bugs me and I can't point it out. But she actually got real braces for her character to wear. Those are actual real braces.
That.
So yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Method acting.
And I mean, just real quick, looking at Drop Dead Gorgeous, I mean, Amy Adams, did she have an Oscar or was she nominated?
I think just nominated.
Okay.
Yeah, was she nominated for what's the new one with Bradley
American
Cooper?
Hustle.
American Hustle, yeah.
Yeah.
But didn't she, because she performed her song at the Oscars too for that Disney live action princess movie.
Which was
Enchanted?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. Sorry, I
Tom just
answered a
lost
little
his
too
man
fast.
But just real quick, I really agree with you guys at looking at the cast of Drop Dead Gorgeous and just seeing them younger and then what they've done in the past 15 years. Sorry, I had to do math.
Almost 20, isn't it?
Oh, it's 99.
Oh, I was thinking it was earlier than that.
Nope, it's 99. So, yeah, just seeing how they've grown as actors. And unfortunately, we lost Brittany Murphy. I actually liked Brittany Murphy a lot. And then also seeing Best in Show and seeing what all these people have done and some of the legendary performances. I mean, especially from Eugene Levy with the American Pie films.
And it's hard to do all those films with two left feet.
It is. It's very hard. So let's move on to directing.
So all the stuff on SCTV, and you chose the American Pie movies, like American Pie 6, The Naked Mile with American treasure Eugene Levy.
Okay,
Let's just point out who just referenced American Pie, The Naked Mile.
I didn't. But honestly,
actually one of them?
I love him
Isn't
I love him as the dad. I mean, he is a fantastic dad, and that really helps the movies. I think is having Eugene Levy in the original, not all the spinoffs like The Naked Mile and Shower Room or whatever you want to call it, Tool Shed.
Shower room.
The Tool Shed.
That's awesome.
But
Shed.
yeah, I mean, honestly, we don't need those. Just give me Eugene Levy as dad. Anyway, let's move on to directing.
The thing about directing, and this is, I think, where these two films kind of deviate the most, is the decision to make the film crew a character in the movie. And they, Spinal Tap was kind of the granddaddy of mockumentaries, and then Drop Dead Gorgeous. Waiting for Guffman came out, and then Drop Dead Gorgeous, and then Back to Best in Show, the third, basically, Christopher Guest mockumentary. And it seems like that Christopher Guest's way of making the film crew just an observer and not one of the characters has kind of been the main acceptable way to do a mockumentary. And Drop Dead Gorgeous, as much as I want to credit Michael Patrick Jan to bring the film crew in, strangely, Best in Show seems to pull you in more. And it seems more real and more genuine with the approach that they took than Drop Dead Gorgeous with the film crew kind of showing up in shots and the boom operator getting a drink. And I think I'd be interested to see what you guys thought about those two approaches, because for me that was the biggest choice that separated the two was how do you incorporate the fact that there's a film crew watching everything that's happening?
Well, one of my notes that I made for Best in Show was that at times it kind of violated a strict documentary style to the way they put it together. It sometimes fell back on a normal narrative style, especially when it came to editing. There was a lot of back and forth. It didn't seem like, at times, if you were really paying attention, it didn't seem like, spur of the moment, like, oh, there's one camera here in this moment, and when characters are talking, we got to go back and forth between them, and that kind of thing. So that was one of the things that I noticed, that it wasn't necessarily a strict kind of documentary or mockumentary style. It did kind of slip back into normal narrative. I think for Drop Dead Gorgeous, one of my favorite gags is they kept on mentioning, "Oh, are we on Cops? Is this Cops?" or whatever. And then all of a sudden you see the Cops crew show up when they get arrested, and then they all know each other. And to me, introducing the film crews at that time actually was kind of funny, and I kind of enjoyed it at that point.
I agree, Gabe. That's the one part of Drop Dead Gorgeous that I look forward to the most, is when the Cops crew and them run into each other and then they know each other. So it's not just that they accidentally caught each other on camera. It's, oh yeah, we're buddies. And I agree with you too about Best in Show, because there were a couple times when we were watching that and I thought, why are we comparing this one to that one? And then reminded myself that they're both that mockumentary, but because you did on Best in Show, you just felt like it was just a movie.
Yeah, at times in particular, for instance, when they're talking to the hotel manager and that kind of thing, there were times when it would cut back and forth between, the couple and then the hotel manager and that kind of thing. And I thought, oh, well, this is very traditional filmmaking style here. But then other times it definitely had a mockumentary style, where they're doing the interviews of the people, and the interviews seem very kind of spontaneous. And, the camera was often very kind of locked down. You don't get a lot.
Not that handheld, gritty.
Yeah, you don't get that feeling. But you do get that from Drop Dead Gorgeous. So in a certain sense, Drop Dead Gorgeous feels a little bit more like a documentary in ways than Best in Show does.
Drop Dead Gorgeous, I'm trying to think of a time when they broke that rule, where you're seeing something that you generally wouldn't see, but it was pretty consistent. They did a pretty good job of sticking to the rules that they established to keep the mockumentary going. I would be really interested to see what would happen if they did Drop Dead Gorgeous now, after Christopher Guest's success. Oh, let's say that 5 times real fast.
Christopher Guest's success?
And to see if his style and his success would influence those choices, because it works.
Sam? Anything?
Yeah.
We lost Tom.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're still here? Oh, I'm sorry. It sounded like it stopped abruptly. Now we're getting an echo.
We lost Sam.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're just getting an echo really, really bad.
Really, really bad?
Really, really bad.
That's crazy.
I think it's better now.
It is better.
Is it safe?
better?
I think we lost him for a little bit. Did you lose connection for a little bit?
I think for a second there,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
the reason I'm asking is, did you have anything about directing styles for either film?
You know, I can see a lot of the points that everyone has brought up on this. Like, I did like acknowledging it, and I think Gabe and Tom said it that Best in Show's kind of a mix, but I kind of like the mix. It's one of those things like once you establish it, and they have kind of done that, they're free to cut back and forth because most of their audiences are pretty savvy at how the stories are told, and it is a weird mix in some ways, but yeah, there's a lot of interesting parts of Drop Dead Gorgeous. I think some of it, a movie like that would be hard to be made today. I don't know what you would insert in place of the word retard in there, which is like so prevalent. And, yes, there's humor, and Will Sasso is really funny, but constantly referring to him as the tard. I think audiences would have a harder time laughing at that today as much, especially since it's like a hot word or whatever to not say.
Yeah, and what do you think about
bulimia stuff?
Yeah, and what do you think about violence? Between kids too. Do you think that's a little bit tougher sell nowadays because it seems to happen so often?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Well, I mean, there's
I
not
think it could. I mean, it's not terribly offensive. It's just I think it plays a little bit differently. It doesn't. To me, Best in Show, even though it's dated in time, seems like it'll kind of play the same as it goes. Whereas Drop Dead Gorgeous, I don't know. I think style-wise, directingly, in some ways, Christopher Guest maybe had a harder time keeping, as great as everybody is, keeping that in check enough to get a completed film. That's a whole nother task besides, crafting that narrative as you're going as well. So a lot of the duties in some ways are tied together for Christopher Guest and Best in Show that Michael Jan didn't really have in Drop Dead Gorgeous. He was following the script and shoot it and you're out.
Well, the interesting too, Drop Dead Gorgeous came out 3 months after Columbine, and to say that was the beginning of an era that we're probably still going through. I don't know what impact that had on the film. It doesn't seem like it's. When I was watching Drop Dead Gorgeous now, 15 years later, that didn't even enter into my mind.
Right.
Even though the movie is high school people killing each other, but I can't imagine watching that in 1999 and not, shifting your seat.
Let's be clear, though. It wasn't a student killing another student.
It was the parent of a student. Yeah, I see what you're saying. But I think also with the use of what Sam was saying of the word retard and tard is just because this is a little town in Minnesota that isn't as doesn't have its fingers on the pulse of what's PC and what's right. I think they did a pretty good job of trying to show that. I mean, they have the trailer park, they have the mayor sitting there talking about how much he hates the Shriners and how about their sons of bitches.
Frida sign.
Yeah.
Sure, and you get that, but if you say it 3 times, okay. You say it 7, 8, 9 times, then it's just like, okay, do we really need to know that he's a tard? Or we get it. I mean, who acts?
The tard's pants
he's
are
acting the
completely
fool.
off.
He's playing the fool, all right? And it's not just that word necessarily. And I think in some cases, it was really funny to see Will Sasso do that. But, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't necessarily offended, but I was watching it, and my husband said that when they, he used to watch it all the time after high school, and some people would get offended at the whole, bulimia award and the fact that she's losing her hair. And still throwing up. And I mean, there's part of that is funny, and then it kind of walks this line between overly snarky and just enough. But maybe that's why it's got its cult following to this day, and why people that like this film really love it, because in some ways, like Heathers and other films of that time, it has this really kind of sharp bite to it that maybe is not for everybody.
And I just think it's supposed to be funny. I think part of all of our problems are that we're just too uptight, and we just need to not read into stuff and not get all bent out of shape over just somebody trying to make somebody else laugh. Because I thought the tard's pants are completely off was hysterical and didn't get offended
Close
at
up
all.
shop. Close up shop. All right, let's put it to a vote. Tom.
Oh, you're gonna go with me first. I have to go Drop Dead Gorgeous because I thought the consistency in the directing was admirable, and they didn't immediately go to the Spinal Tap / Waiting for Guffman style.
All right.
They made their own move. I like that.
All right, Amanda.
I agree. Drop Dead Gorgeous, just because it was different and fun.
Gabe.
I still have to go with Best in Show. I just think it's so solid all the way around, and he gets great performances out of those actors, and picks the right pieces to put together to make the complete film. So Best in Show for me.
All right, and Sam.
I think Christopher Guest is intricate in every detail of his production, and for as far as directing a piece, it's got to be him in Best in Show.
All right. When the manager of the hotel is showing the various cleaning products in Best in Show, he mentions a rock band trashing their room and roasting a goat. The rock band is, of course, the filmmaker's alter ego, Spinal Tap. And all the scenes featuring numerous dogs went remarkably smooth. There's only one unscripted bark in the film. Heard in the background is Christy and Sherry Ann argue over Christy's makeup backstage. And Drop Dead Gorgeous, the sports team at Mount Rose High School are called the Muskies. This is in reference to the Muscugula, a fish found in northern Minnesota whose name derives from the I'm not even going to say that word, for ugly pike. There you go. Let's move on to our final category in our final round, which is overall.
Thing that I really noticed or liked about Drop Dead Gorgeous is all of their attention to detail. Like every little thing, Gabe mentioned that they keep referencing cops, and then towards the end they run into them, and all these little Diane Sawyer things, and they all kind of piece together, and some of the visuals, and in the bars, and or not the bar, the American Legion or whatever, where they're doing their interview, but all these little pokes and prods that further the story, and that just reinforce everything that you're hearing from the characters. And the one thing that I really, really was shocked about at Best in Show was the working with the dogs. Like, I get that, they have trainers, and those were probably show dogs who know how to behave. But when those actors were, especially the one couple, when they're screaming and yelling about the bee back and forth, and that dog's just standing there like, okay, what's going on? And just, I can't even imagine working with that many animals and being able to keep them reeled in as well as they did in that movie.
Did you like the dog acting? Is that what you're saying?
I did. I loved the dog acting.
The
yes.
dogs were fantastic.
The dogs were
Okay.
fantastic.
Yeah, and that is definitely something you'd have to consider when making a movie like that. Like, oh, well, we got to work with all these dogs, and that's challenging. And it seems like they pulled it off pretty well. But like you said, they're probably, well-trained dogs, but nonetheless, it's probably difficult to work with.
Yeah.
One of the things that struck me about both films was the music. I kind of actually liked the music in Drop Dead Gorgeous. It was kind of it reminded me of my youth and kind of the heavy metal grunge type stuff. And I was like, oh, I kind of like the music in this. And then you can also see kind of the beginnings of the whole Mighty Wind thing starting in Best in Show when that couple sings the Terrier song, and then they're singing songs at the end, and so I was struck a little bit by the introduction of a little bit of music into Best in Show, and I was surprised to find out that Terrier song was actually written by Eugene Levy as well, so I was impressed with that personally.
I think Best in Show. Oh, go ahead, Sam.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead, Tom.
Well, Best in Show. You could argue Best in Show might be like the best mockumentary ever done. Maybe Spinal Tap, since I kind of got the ball rolling. Going back and watching, just my mind completely went blank. For your consideration and Mighty Wind, you can see where they tried to replicate that magic. And Mighty Wind is good, and For Your Consideration is decent, but Best in Show is something really special, I think, and everything really, really clicked. And it's always frustrating when you see them. We're like, well, let's get the band back together and let's try it again. This time we'll do folk music, or we'll do an Jewish movie, and they weren't able to recapture that magic. And I would love to see them take one more swing at it. But it seems like Christopher Guest has kind of hung up his mockumentary director chair. Well, I could not think of a word. I don't know. His mockumentary shoes. But I think Best in Show is certainly one of the best mockumentaries that's ever been done.
Yeah,
that's what happens when I get done talking.
It's true. Animal acting. To me, just insight into the batshit crazy world of dog shows, regardless of all the other creative stuff going on. It's like some of those characterizations were probably not too far from the mark, sadly enough, which makes me want to have watched that Westminster Dog Show on USA all those years, but I didn't do it. Not really.
That's because it didn't have a commentator like Fred Willard.
That's true. That's true. And
Sam, you should just have a little Sherlock Holmes hat and a pipe and sit there and watch it. Sorry.
I wonder how much of that was just ad-lib too. Fred Willard.
Oh, I imagine most of Fred Willard's stuff was ad-libbed. Just from what I've heard on different podcasts talking about working with Fred Willard, like other actors working with him, you're like, I have no idea what he's going to say next.
Yeah.
It's funny how his character that he's created in general, watching Wall-E or even just hearing a La Quinta commercial on the radio.
Yeah.
it brings so much baggage with it. And it's like I hear a La Quinta commercial and I go, I want to watch Best in Show.
To Sam's point too about you wonder how much of those characters or how many of those characters are actually at real dog shows. I was in a beauty pageant, like 2 years before this movie came out, and I can tell you for a fact that a lot of those people are out there too. Because you have the batshit crazy mother, and you have the contestant that never stops smiling and always looks absolutely perfect 100% of the time and has perfect posture, and it's a career for them. But I do want to hang out backstage at a dog show now, just to observe.
And I have to say, real quick, while watching it, I've seen pictures of Amanda from that beauty pageant, and I just kept thinking of her anytime that Amber Atkins was on the screen, because they were pretty similar, at least in comparison to those photos.
I can't tap like that though.
No.
I kept thinking John Benet Ramsey, so I was not getting a good vibe there. It was not good. So she was calling to me from the grave. And I think the parents did it. But regardless, I think Best in Show should win.
All right. You guys want to add
Was
anything
that
else?
too much bad taste? Is it too soon
No,
for that?
no, no, it's not too tsunami. No. Sorry. You guys have anything else you want to add? I'm glad Gabe talked about the music. I was going to bring that up. No one? All right. Put it to a vote. Amanda.
Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Sam.
Best in Show.
Gabe.
Yeah, I think I got to vote Straight Ticket, Best in Show.
All right. Tom.
Best in Show. It's a classic.
All right. Okay, dokie. The original title of Drop Dead Gorgeous was Dairy Queens, but it had to be changed after the let's start that over. Take two. The original title of Drop Dead Gorgeous was Dairy Queens, but it had to be changed after the corporation that owns the Dairy Queen ice cream chain filed a lawsuit. And
Well, it was their fault. They were filming in Dairy Queen's backyard.
that's true. Fred Willard's character, Buck Laughlin, was based on baseball legend Joe Garrigli. Yep, can't say it. Garrigolio was who had co-hosted the Westminster Kennel Club dog show in years past to similar effect. So there's a lot less thunder with that since Gabe stole it earlier.
Only slightly. I was like the lightning. You bring the thunder.
Oh, there you go. All right. Garrigola? Garrigola. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to
I'm sorry. Can I ask you a quick question about the trivia? So the Dairy Queen wouldn't let Drop Dead Gorgeous use Dairy Queen?
Dairy Queens. No, it would not.
That's interesting because Parker Posey worked at Dairy Queen in Waiting for Guffman, and I wonder how
Really?
much of she was Libby Mae Brown at Waiting for Guffman, and she worked at DQ.
Like,
and
yeah, if you want a Coke or something, just drive on through.
I'm curious as if that had any impact to Dairy Queen pulling their name from that mockumentary because it's been done before.
Maybe.
So, I'm just making up trivia now.
All right. Let's go ahead and hit your recommendations for this month while I attempt to do math. Hopefully it's better than my English. We'll start with Gabe.
Well, I'm going to recommend The Princess Bride, in part because of the Christopher Guest kind of relation there, but also because it's just a great timeless movie. Now, I imagine most of you who are listening have probably already seen The Princess Bride, but I think it's probably worth another watch. It's always entertaining, it's always kind of heartwarming, and it's very enjoyable. So go watch it again.
All right. Thank you. Tom.
My recommendation, we talked about a couple times already today, was This is Spinal Tap, which is the granddaddy of mockumentaries. And I don't know if there's one that goes back further than that, but it stars Christopher Guest and Michael McKean, who are both in this, and the great Harry Shearer from The Simpsons. It's directed by Rob Reiner. And does Rob Reiner direct it? I don't know.
Yes, I believe he does.
It is fantastic. It's lots of fun. And you pick up the DVD or the special edition Blu-ray, and the commentary is done in character by the three cast members. And
Nice.
it might even be better than the movie. So it's absolutely fantastic. If you love the movie, go back, watch it again with the commentary, and you double your pleasure for the price of one movie.
Fun fact, I actually owned a couple Spinal Tap albums growing up.
Nice.
You remember that whole scam Columbia House? Yeah, I got into that a lot. And it's like, oh, Spinal Tap. All right, I know that movie. And yeah, they weren't that great, but all right.
Yeah, that's another quotable movie too.
It is.
I love but this one goes to 11. Yeah.
Why don't you just put it to 10? But this one goes to 11.
No, but this one goes to 11.
All right, Sam.
You know, I'm going to recommend a TV show that I've kind of fallen into in the last month. It's from a DirecTV original series called Kingdom, and it's about two people in a struggling gym on Navy Street, San Francisco. It kind of shows the inner workings of the gym and their mixed martial arts fighter son, as well as other people that they're getting fights for. This is totally outside of my wheelhouse. Like, I never usually watch anything about Ultimate Fighting, anything like that. Kind of fell into it, and it is really intriguing. It's an original series on a DirecTV, so it's kind of a limited, network or run for the series, but its production values are top edge. Not since Breaking Bad have I seen the use of cinematography and cast work so effectively and create a really memorable series that's shown commercial free. So you can really get into the 43-minute episodes. It's got a tremendous cast. One of the fighters is Joe Jonas. I'm sorry.
Like of the Jonas Brothers?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Nick Jonas, the youngest one. He's like one of the younger sons. That's a fighter. He's really kind of ripped in this movie, and he's got a really complex character. Some of the other character actors that I've seen, possibly seen in the background before, Adam Davidson and Gary Felder and Frank Grillo. There's the people I didn't know, but instantly was drawn to their characters. It's a really cool show. It's called Kingdom. If you have DirecTV, you should check it out. It's on the Audience Network.
All right. Thanks, Sam. Amanda.
So since we were talking about how awesome Allison Janney is, I'm going to suggest Mom, the TV show. It has Anna Faris. She's going through some personal struggles, trying to get sober, and has 2 kids, single mom, and her mom, played by Allison Janney, moves in with her to quote-unquote help. And if you guys are anything like me, you're never, ever, ever going to want to live with your parents again. So I tell everybody that my mom and I are best friends because I moved out. But it's just a fun, entertaining show. It's not anything deep, and but Allison Janney just steals it every scene that she's in. French Stewart's in a couple of the episodes. It's just a good fun show.
All right. Thank you. And my recommendation is The Mating Habits of the Earthbound Human. It's a little mockumentary done back in 1999. Also seems to be a good time for mockumentaries. An anthropologist from I can't talk tonight. An anthropologist from an alien planet provides voiceover commentary for a documentary looking at human courtship, mating, and reproduction. Complex, perverse, tragically beautiful. And David Hyde Pierce plays the narrator, and it follows Mackenzie Aston and Carmen Electra through meeting, courtship, and such. And they have some really great little cutaways of what these aliens think happens during certain parts of the courtship, the mating, and all that. And it's actually really funny. So I would suggest it. If you want to just shut your brain off, have a little bit of fun, check out The Mating Habits of the Earthbound Human. All right, you guys want to know who won? I mean, you guys can count. I imagine you already know, but let's poke the monkey.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Your winner by decision is Best in Show!
Pretty good.
Sounds good.
Pretty good.
I can live with that.
Yeah. All right.
In my unscientific Facebook poll of like 7 people during this broadcast, like I'd say most people would say Drop Dead Gorgeous. Maybe I was wrong.
That's what I would think. More of the people I know, I think, would find Drop Dead Gorgeous entertaining than, like, Christopher Guest is really dry.
He is kind of dry. You're absolutely right. It's a different taste, I think.
It is. It's a very different appeal.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoy both films for different reasons. But
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I really did.
not, well, once again, not saying one film is bad and the other one's good. It's just one's just a little bit better than the other. All right. we're almost ready to close out the show.
And for the record, I would not have been able to direct Best in Show because I would have been completely 100% distracted by the dogs.
Yes.
I would have been like, oh, can I pet him?
As she should show you guys her phone with all the dog and cat pictures she takes of ours.
I actually did while we were recording.
Yeah.
Because Kinzer was laying on Sarge's
Okay, we
bed
don't need a
with Sarge.
description.
Well, you're going to pay for that one later. Then.
Yes, I am. I'll enjoy the couch tonight.
She's gonna hit that mic.
She's gonna take your busy bee away.
She is.
Never gonna get it back.
All right.
Does this look like Busy Bee?
That's not a bee. That's a bear in a bee costume.
By the way, I really like the guy trying to help her in the shop. He's just like, oh, okay, all right. Well, how about this? It kind of looks like a pea.
Well, if he works or if he owns a pet store that close to where they have that, you know he's dealt with that kind of person before.
Yeah, probably. All right, Gabe, where can people find you, stalk you?
Well,
maybe
you can
come
look
over
me
and have
up
a drink.
you can look me up on Facebook, or you can check out some of our 48-hour films at onegenomeshort.com.
All right, Tom.
Cheshire Moon Films. Google it. It'll take you all the great places. Facebook and our website. And Wedding Day Rewind for our fantastic wedding films we're wrapping up this year.
Sam.
Well, I am lurking on the interwebs, probably somewhere around Facebook or whatnot. You can also reach me at 48hourfilm.com/Des Moines and email me there.
All right. And Amanda.
If kids are still doing that these days, sorry.
I'm on all of them: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest.
AOL? Are you on
LinkedIn.
AOL?
Oh, I missed that one.
Oh, darn it.
I haven't
Are you
gotten a
on
disc
Potty
in the
Talk?
mail recently.
You can only access it when you're going to the bathroom. It's like all the rage in France.
That's because they have the bidets in addition to the toilet.
Wow. I think we should just end it there. All right. Well, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and, all those things. You can also follow the studio as well. We also offer some great podcasts other than Cinesmack. But for Cinesmack, we would appreciate it if you could leave us a review on iTunes or whatever podcasting service you use. And I want to say thank you to the 10, maybe? Yeah, I think it was like 8 or 10 new star reviews on iTunes that we have. And I imagine that's from the nice people listening. You can contact us at cinesmack@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Just search Cinesmack. We love to hear what you have to say about the films that we put up against each other. And for December, we celebrate our 4th birthday as we celebrate Christmas with The Ref and Mixed Nuts. This ought to be fun. For Gabe, Tom, Sam, Amanda, and myself, thanks for listening, and go catch a flick.
Let me ask you a question. This may be a little bit off the path. How much weight do you think I could bench press? Just make a guess, ballpark figure.
Absolutely.
315 pounds. I mean, I was in top shape. I don't know if I could make it down to the end of this arena and back. Now, deadlifted over 500.
Yeah, it's them damn Shriners who won't take down that goddamn sign, the lazy sons of bitches. Every year, every damn year I tell them, take down the goddamn Frida sign, you lazy sons of bitches.
This has been a test of the Southsider Studios podcast system. This was only a test. If this were a true lack of entertainment, your head would explode. Go to iTunes and subscribe to our feed. Just search Southsider Studios.